Well, it is time, but it's not the time for the Bahrain Grand Prix as there were some issues. But it is time for the IWTR World Flutter Series Season 4 as we're here for the Indian Grand Prix here at the Buddh International Circuit. Yes, you heard that right. We are returning to this, well, abandoned venue back in 2013 as that was the last year that they held a Formula 1 Grand Prix with obviously Sebastian Vettel winning every single race that F1 has hosted there, and this will be our first time for the World Flutter Series to visit this track, well, due to the Bahrain's track problems and Prix. But let's have a look at the track there here. The Buddh International Circuit is located at Greater Northiya, Uttar Pradesh, India, as it is a 5.125 kilometer circuit or 3.185 miles, 16 corners, 7 to the left and 9 to the right. The track opened in the 18th of October 2011, as that is around almost 1 week before the Formula 1 will come to India. As you see here on the track, actually there's a pretty long straights there, front stretch, and like turn 3 after turn 3, and also after turn 4 as well. A lot of straights, lots of titanic corners. We'll see what happens here at Buddh. And we are here at trackside for the Indian Grand Prix venue. Hello everyone, I'm your host and your commentator Pauser here, as it is, well, a new circuit to be say, but you can see that we have a lot of things that we need to go through. But obviously the Bahrain International Circuits and this track combo, the car combo, which is the Formula Ultimate 2017, which is the car that it came with the game, created some sort of problems where whenever we record it and into the second lap, it always just crashes, and we literally have no idea how exactly the problem occur. So what we're gonna do is pretty much change the race from Bahrain to, well, Buddh International Circuit here in India. Well, let's not waste any time as we're heading to the starting grid and a formation lap of the Indian Grand Prix. Here we go now, every car lined out of the grid, and here we go, starting grid for today's race. It's Luca Farina, his first pole of the season, and Raymond Tanner, a surprise one to be honest, in the Toro Rosso in second place. Well, these two, I mean, definitely Luca Farina definitely is the one of surprise, because Ferrari didn't have that much good of a preseason testing back at early August. Mitch Johnson and Previn Pilch lines up in row 2. Row 3, it's Simon Witt and Sepp Lebs for both the Red Bulls lined up in row 3. So they're definitely looking forward to absolutely make a pounce on the impact on this race. Zoe Petrojan, a good qualifying for him, and Tin Anderson lines up in 8th place for Sauber. Then we also have the Welsh driver Dylan Holt for Renault, and Nick Koch lining up for the top 10 for the first time in his career, her career. Sorry. Noto Miller and in Jaguar, and Lifen Pasalic were lined up in P11 and 12 respectively. Pasalic obviously looking for redemption after a terrible season opening for him back at Kyalami. Setting Kaya and Jafari Blackwood lines up in row 7. Well, and Kaya looks to score points here in India. Matthew Falcon and Mihaly Savak, both of them lines up in 15th and 16th. Obviously Falcon, a pretty lackluster race back at Kyalami, so he looks to, well, get better of it. And Mr. Peanut Butter and Portion of Shoshana lines up in row 9. Obviously Shoshana's having an amazing debut back at Kyalami. Would he do the same? I don't think so, because he started 18th today. Adia Backus and Henry Jack Brown lines up in 19th and 20th today. As next up we have Alex Lewan, who has the pole position, the pole sitter last race, but now languages relinquish in 21st. And here we have Drobozarjevic and Flonja Wilson in row 12. As these two, yeah, obviously the Porsche looks promising at the start of preseason testing, but now they just went back on the pack. But obviously, because being equal cars, it's anything can happen. And rounding out the final row is Cesar Cohen Jr. and Sotiris Contagouris. So it is, well, pretty much a mixed up grid, as you can see here, because obviously that, well, it's equal cars, but it's just literally different teams. So yeah, literally anything can happen. But you can see that both of the Red Bulls lined up on the front row, which is just not really on the front row, but in the front of the pack. Meanwhile, back at last race, they were lining up at the back of the pack. It just shows you how much the field can change. The grid slot, grid slot can be changed quite dramatically in just only one race. You see the Porsches back at Kailami, they were the contenders to win the race, but now they are pretty much far back behind. So we have 23 laps of action here in India. So here we go. It is a 4 sets of lights here at Buddh International Circuit. And we go straight to green here at India. Farina, really good start for him. Now coming down into turn 1, and look at that 3 wide making moves there. Prem Pilch go on the inside of the Toro Rosso of Raymond Tanner. Tanner trying to hold on. There's another 3 wide making back on the back. As you see that Nick Koch, she's making up a lot of moves here into third place now. Up into third, and she's trying to hold off the Red Bulls. I think that was Plebs, and you see that both of these guys, it's almost going to be another 3 wide coming into turn 4, and she might lost 1 position there for Nick Koch. I think she does. Oh, she lost 2 positions, maybe even 3 here. Plebs now into third, and then Tin Anderson up to 4th. But Nick Koch has to fight against the Toro Rosso of Raymond Tanner. He drops to 6th now to starting 2nd. That's not really a good start spot for him. But I mean, we'll see what happens. But as you can see right here, Farina leads from Prem Pilch, from Plebs, and from Tin Anderson, and then Nick Koch still in the top 5 position. But you see on the back there, Dylan Homer and Mitch Johnson, they were having a little bit of battle on the back in the midfield. So yeah, lap 1 complete, first lap complete. It's 23 laps of action here, as you see there. Paul Shoshana and Harry Japra making a battle coming down into turn 1. Shoshana on the inside, Brown has to go all the way around the outside. And I think Shoshana, he will get that position done, and he does. Goes 16th fastest. Luan there, he's looking, and look at that, Mr. Peanut Butter. He just caught napping Luan, and he takes P18, and still, yet the DRS is not available yet. This track does have DRS though, if you're wondering. But here goes now Brown. He's looks on the back of Shoshana once more after he's been overtaken. Seems like nothing has still happened, but you see a slight battle there, Johnson and Witt. We focus now on Nick Koch. She started 10th, but now is in 5th place. And in current her standings, she's pretty much sits on 16th place, literally where she finished last race, but she didn't score any points. So this could be a great opportunity for her to score her first points in World Formula Series. You see Prem Pilch eyeing up his eyes on that scarlet red Ferrari. And well, you see over behind here as Shoshana still trying to defend from Brown into now turn 14 of the track, and then it's actually 15, then into 16, which is a final corner into the main straight. We didn't see a lot of actions, quite a lot, but this time around with these cars, with the regulations that we have, it's all pretty much down to the tire strategy. But sometimes they could overtake on the track with the DRS if their cars are close enough. So, and you see that behind there's a battle going on. I think that's one of of the Porsches, I think. Oh, it's not a Porsche, it is a Toyota, but it's going to be 3 wider. Peanut Butter, Choshanet, and Luan battling it out. Luan goes up to 17th, Mr. Peanut Butter backs up to 18th, and Choshanet lost another positions as well. I think he might lost it while he was battling with Henry Jack Brown there. He lost 3 positions now. And you see up in front there, as you see Zorbijan. So trying to catch on Simon Vitt and Jafari Blackwood as well. Blackwood, well, being the last race winner, still looking for at least a point scoring position just to keep him safe. Seb Plebs in 3rd and Tin Anderson in 4th. Still really close to each other, but it's not that much of it because it's still about a second away from each other. You see that Nick Koch about 2 seconds behind there. Raymond Tanner, who is lining up on the front row today, drops back to 6th place. You see Liver Pasalic there in 7th place, really catching on for Raymond Tanner as well. As Dylan Hope in 8th place, Johnson as well. But still, the gap seems pretty close to each other, as you see, about a second away. But now, and I think Sepleps get a bad exit. They're coming off of turn 3, and that might give the opportunity for Tin Anderson there. DRS enabled, and I think he overtakes him. Oh, and looks at that is Ponchon Shiner there. He was, and he's got, he tangled with, I think that was Mr. Peanut Butter there. Slams on the side there, and let's see what happens here. And he just brakes way too late into the side, into the back of Mr. Peanut Butter's rear wing. But yeah, he was 19th before that spin, and that's probably even worse scenario for Shoshana there. Not a great start to the race for him. So now lap 4, you see Nkaya looks on the inside of Mihaly Savant, and he takes it. P14 for him. Number 77, he's driving Valtteri Bottas's car number, and let's do a battle alongside. There's Flonja Wilson and Sotiris Contagouris. Contagouris stays right behind that Porsche, and he still has to defend from Cesar Cohen Jr., the driver from Dominican Republic. And I mean, both women on this race so far, Flonja Wilson and Cesar Cohen Jr. is on the back of the pack. Well, I don't really know, to be honest, but last race Wilson did score a podium for the second time of her career, and the first time this season. But still, they are pretty far back behind. But I mean, qualifying can make or break the difference between the different slots of the grids so far, as we've seen in the last couple of seasons. As we see now, Tin Anderson looks to closing the gap on that Mercedes of Prem and Pilch. That Mercedes of Prem and Pilch looks really incredible, to be honest, that might say. That he, well, I don't really know, to be honest, but Mercedes, they were a back marker back at last season. They didn't score that much of a point. But this time around, Prem and Pilch, the guy who moved the team from, well, where he moved from the team that he is a part of, a Constructors Champion, which is Sauber, and the man that came to replace him is Tin Anderson. So yeah, here comes now Anderson, just closing the gap on that Mercedes car. But yeah, I can definitely say that Mercedes looks to improve quite a bit, and now gonna maybe even Pilch gonna score their first podium of the season, apart from what Sid and Kaya did last season with only just one podium as well. But would we see that magic happens? We don't yet know, but here it goes now. In lap 6 of the race, Luca Vernier still leads from Prem Pilch and Tin Anderson in 3rd, and also with Sepp Plebs in 4th. Red Bulls are looking strong this race as well. But Vid probably had a poor start in the start of the race and drops to 10th right now. Vargas, well, move to Williams doesn't seem like it would be a much better choice, but he might try to go on the inside, a sleeper move here on the inside of Matthew Falcon, and he does take P20. We see a lot of, well, what I call a sleeper move there on the inside of turn 3, but it's a uphill as well on that corner, and here goes now. Falcon looks up to have a go once again, trying to defend his position on the inside in turn 4, and Vargas has to yield off, and Falcon goes up to 20th once again, and I think Bivona looks to have a go on Vargas, but Florence Wilson, the tyre just drags on the dirt or the grass on the track, and she does overtake Akatina Bivona into P22. And now you see there, and the coach Raymond Tanner in 5th place, actually make up 1 position back. Still yet to be enough. Now into lap 7 we go. As well, Pilch in 2nd place. Still trying to conserve the tires as much as he can, or try to push as much as he can. So it's all about the strategy here. Would he push just to get the position that he needs and pitting, hoping that he would end up in front of Luca Farina, or he would just conserve the tires and go for a long run and try to stay in front of Luca Farina when the pit stop time came? It's still yet to be decided, but here it goes now. Nick Koch goes for a dive into the turn 4, and I think Koch made the move stick, and she does make the move stick into P5 for Nick Koch. But here goes now. Pasalic goes on the inside of Raymond Tanner. Oh, big tank slapper coming off of that turn 5, but he still does get the position done, and Raymond Tanner now drops 2 positions more back into 7th place, and you see there who's behind him. That is of course the reigning world champion Mitch Johnson there, and also you see right behind him is also Dylan Hope, who was making the debut last season with Williams, and now he's switched teams to Renault. Now it all seems like, well, Dylan Hope might have a decent chance to score points in this race, but it's still yet to be decided because they haven't even get through their first pit stop stint, so we'll have to wait and see. You see that the top 10s are getting really close to each other. You see there the other pack of Petrojan leading the way to the 3rd pack. You see Jafari Blackwood there in 13th place. Still not much that he could do. Just try to get the pace just to be over there. But and I think Anderson was looking on the inside of Freeman Pilch, but there wasn't really any room, so he's just backed out of that. And here comes now Pasalic, and there might be some movement. Johnson is really close on the back of that Toro Rosso of Raymond Tanner, and he looks on the inside on that corner. Well, he goes and he spins around, and he got clobbered by Dylan Hope, and that might be the end of the run for the points for Dylan Hope, and also for the reigning world champion as well, Mitch Johnson. Well, what on earth even happened there? I think, yeah, he would just make on the inside, gets it to, well, coming in too hard. He couldn't really brake there. Slides his car off, but then Dylan Hope didn't have anywhere to go, and he just absolutely clobbers the front wing of his car and Johnson's car as well. Literally just absolutely misjudgment of the brakes from Mitch Johnson. And yeah, both of them got damaged, and you see there the Ferrari of, I think it was Sorry Petrojan and Simon Ritt both taking evasive action. But as you see the Jaguars, who was that? I think it was Noah Tomella, goes for a move, and it's on a yellow flag that he couldn't overtake, but he still does. threads the needle, and he goes up. He gets 3 positions, and he might even get himself to up to P8 as well, as he tries to overtake the damage from the damaged car that he have, and he does go, and Tuomela does go up to P8, and you see the others were looking to go as well. As oh, and yikes! Well, Vid got hold up there from Dylan Hope, but Hope was trying to go to the pits, but Vid just still. He could have just turned left and just avoid him completely, but he didn't. And now you see now it's going to be a 4-car battle forming up here, as you see Mr. Peanut Butter looks on the inside of Matthew Falcon, and Bacchus looks to go for a 2-car move on Bivona and Matthew Falcon. But it's only going to be a 1-car move made for him, and he's going to be overtaken by Bivona once more. And here comes up the Porsche of Flonja Wilson. Goes alongside that Williams of Bacchus, and she's now taking P20. But Bacchus has the slipstream, and he does go for it once more, and he does have the DRS, but, well, Wilson does also have DRS, but he sends it in anyway, and Bacchus now into P20, and Cohen Jr. now alongside Wilson. Now 2 women fighting for the position, and Cesar Cohen Jr. takes it home into P21, and Josh Shiner making a comeback on the inside of Sotiris Contagouris, and now gets up to P23. Wow, the battle just gets on pretty quickly there on that lap. And there you see now the top 4 are now really close to each other, especially that 2nd and 3rd place of Prem Pilch and Tin Anderson. As we're now into lap 10 of the race, it's now almost halfway through the race now. But you see that Pilch still hanging on P2, and Anderson looks on a tighter line, trying to get that on the inside of Prem and Pilch, but it wasn't really quite enough. But here comes now Sepp Plebs in 4th place, and well, he does get the DRS. Luca Farina doesn't, because he's the leader of the race. But he still hangs on there. He still hangs on into P1. And and Tanner is going to pit this lap, which that means the first stint is now coming to an end, and they're going to go for a 2nd stint of their tire life. But you see there, as you see Alex Luwan trying to catch up to Zeren Kaya. And you also have, I think that, yeah, so that was Raymond Tanner, who's gonna go to pits this lap. And also Pilch there. Still can't yet get close to, well, Luca Farina. Might not have enough pace with that tyre, which is the soft tyre that these guys were still running. You see here now Pilch in 2nd place, and well, you see almost everybody. So, Farina's kind of slide off there into turn 1, but here comes now Tanner into the pit lane. Everybody else still not yet to pit, but here goes only Tanner, the first one to come into the pit lane, and it will go the same tyre as well the first race that we have, which is this ultra soft tyre, and it goes for a 4.85 second stuff. Actually 4.65. And I think that there is another car coming in. I think that was Jeff Blackwood, I think, who was in the pits. But yeah, look at that, Tanner just comes out right behind his teammate Sotiris Contagouris, and Contagouris on the inside of that Porsche of Flonja Wilson, and it does take to P22 in actually P21, sorry, and Tanner also overtakes Flonja Wilson for P22 as well. And that is Blackwood just coming out of the pit lane, and Dylan Hope and Mitch Johnson now has to hope that, well, there's going to be chaos in front of them and they get a safety car to get back up in front, but it seems like it's now not going to happen yet. So it's yet to happen, but it might happen, so we'll have to wait and see. Farina going to the pit early on this lap, and he does go to P10 into lap 11, into the pit lane he goes. And now that means Prem Pilch is gonna be the net leader for a race so far. And with Tin Anderson just right behind him as well, so we could see some interesting strategies developing here. And well, say in the pit lane, same with Nick Koch for the Haas, and there it is. Well, Petrosian comes out in front. Well, he's not pitting yet. Same with Simon Witt, Brown as well. But you see, that's a Ferrari coming out there as Luca Farina comes out in 9th place. Meanwhile, Plebs comes out in 10th place. So, yeah, I would say not as far as the other guys were supposed to be. But Pilch and Tin Anderson still yet to pit, so we still don't know how much time that would they lost. But they don't have any traffics at all, so it could be a clear way for them to get back in front. There goes now Dorobo Zarjevic and Mr. Peanut Butter all pitted, and Wilson, Bivona and Shoshana all pitted. And there he goes now. These two is going to pit soon. Leaving Pasalic as well, setting Kaya as well. There you see Luca Farina just comes out in 9th place. He's right behind the Williams driver of Mihaly Silva, who was making a comeback while he was trying to get. Oh my goodness me! Farina just tried to look on the inside of that Williams driver, because that Williams is holding up severely for him, and that might get him to Sepp Plebs to close up on him, and he does go on the inside and into turn 15, and I think he does make the move stick. But here it comes now. Plebs looks on the inside of Mihaly Savak and might also taking Luca Farina with him as well, but it looks to be too far for him. But Luca Farina is still safe from this attack, and here goes now Anderson. Goes on the inside. Oh, is that a touch there from the Sauber driver with the Savak? I fear that maybe not. There probably is no damage to Savak's car, but I think Savak's gonna get overtaken by Tin Anderson, who just come out of pits. But Prem Pilch still yet to pit. Simon Witt as well, and Plebs goes on the inside. Both have the tank slapper into turn 4. They're alongside each other now, and the Ferrari straight away yields off. Not fighting as well. For Farina, it's not fighting, but he's wait for the next couple of laps maybe, or he's just minding his own business there. But Farina lost another positions there, and potentially the lead of the race. Now Brown's in 3rd place. He was holding there pretty well, but it goes now. Sepp Plebs leading the race. Well, probably net lead of the race, but here comes now Prem Pilch into the pit lane. That Mercedes car is looking quite fast there, and here goes now pit stop time, and what times he will get: 4.68 seconds. Not a bad stop. But here comes now Plebs just coming out of the pit lane, and Witt, his teammate, going to the pit lane. There you see Pilch just coming out of the pit lane, and no, he can't. He will stay behind those guys, that top 3, so he comes out in 4th place, and Tin Anderson now gets another position up into P3, and Pasalic goes on the inside of that Toro Rosso of Raymond Tanner, and he takes P6. And oh, there seems to be almost a contact there between Blackwood and Petrosian. Petrosian, is he close enough? He does. He is close enough, and he goes for it into P9. But Blackwood has the DRS, isn't he? No, he does. He does not. He does not have DRS. Petrosian does, so that means Petrosian can just pull away from Blackwood, and that's probably his advantage. That's in his advantage, and he goes up to P9 now. And Tanner, just looks on the outside of Force India driver of Limit Pasalic, but he's holding on pretty well and still stays in 6th place. Nick Koch there into 5th place, and Plebs now leads the race with Farina in 2nd. But here comes now Tin Anderson, who probably has more yeah, I think he has fresher tires because he's pitted 1 lap late before Farina and Plebs both pitted. And also same goes with Prem and Pilch. He could potentially goes back to fight these guys on the top 3. But it goes now Anderson really close on the back of that Ferrari. And I think he's still yet to close up, but he looks as smart. Let's have a look on board with him in the Sauber number 94. And there it goes now. He has DRS, but also Farina has DRS also from the Red Bull offset cliffs. It's going to be a side-by-side battle now for these two guys. Now goes on the inside for Tim Anderson, and he does go into second place. Would Farina even do anything? He looks on the outside. Oh, it wasn't really enough. There wasn't really any room there, and he has to yield off. So Tim Anderson confirmedly into second place. And he's now 1 step closer to that win for the first time for Sauber. But here goes now Farina getting the something wrong here. But here comes now also Prem and Pilch in 4th place. It's gonna be a wild one, surely not. And there he is, Tanner goes into 8th place, but he's pitting this lap, which is only lap 15 of 23 on this race. But now here it goes now. If Tanner's gonna pit, then Petrosyan would get a free position then. There he goes now. What type of overtakes that he would go for, we don't really know, but we'll have to wait and see. But here goes now Mr. Peanut Butter hanging on in P17, trying to defend from the Jaguar and the McLaren of Matthew Falcon and Akati Rivona. Mr. Peanut Butter does hold it pretty well in P17, even though the last race and this race is not really his best, but it's still yet to well, show his true potential in this series. But here he goes now. Ankaya into P11 and Vit into P9. There you see Nick Koch all alone. She's pretty much all alone here in P5. But he has Farina to look up in front to. Look up as well. As you see there. And Farina goes to the pit this lap. But he's way behind the top 3 there. But here he goes now. Anderson gonna go to pits next lap, I believe, but it's Sepp Plebs going to the pits this lap. Same goes with Farina as well, but Plebs does have a lot of gap to, well, to a lot of room to breathe, because he's have like about 3 or 4 second gap there. But Prem and Pilch is gonna take that position away. He looks on the inside on that in turn 13, and now on to turn 15 into the inside. Big slide coming off of that turn 15. But he does hold on and takes P2 of the race. Goes into that 16th corner, and here we go. Plebs and Farina go into the pit lane. And that means Nick Koch, she's up into 3rd place. She is now right there. Really close now. But there it goes now. Here it goes. Plebs into the pit lane. That's 4.61 seconds. What about Farina's lap? Farina stopped 3.23, but he has to stop because, well, he's gonna try to avoid collision with Sepp Plebs as well, just for safety reasons. And now look at that setting. Kaya now up to 9th place, the place that he would have wanted. Oh, there's a contact. Farina just comes out in front of that Porsche of Slatko Drobozarjevic. But yeah, seems like there's no damage to each other's car. And I think here comes now Savat, looks on the back of that Porsche as well. Does have DRS, but the Porsche does have it as well. It's creating a double draft here. But here it goes now with Savat trying to go for it on the inside of that turn 4. I think he does make the move stick, and yes, he does. He does make the move stick, and he's into P12. Mr. Peanut Butter in P14 there. And you see Falcon in P15 and Bivona in 16th as well. But the time difference are pretty staggering, I would say. As you see, Mr. Peanut Butter is about 2.5 seconds in front of Matthew Falcon there. But the others weren't doing so bad. But Drobozarjevic is going to pit this lap. With the front as well, you see Anderson and Prem and Pilch both pitting next lap. Or in this lap actually, but Koch already came to the pit. And here comes also Jaguars. Oh! Oh my goodness me, I thought that was going to be a collision there between the Haas and the Jaguar. But they don't, so that's a good thing. But there goes now. Passadic 4.38, meanwhile Tuamela 3.28. A better stop, but he's still behind. That Force India and another contact, but it's fine. They don't really have any extensive damage to their cars. There it goes now. Sepp Plebs just right behind Seren Kaya, who's going to pit this lap, and I think he does gonna take a position easily there. Has the DRS, goes on the inside, takes to P6. And now here we see now Anderson still in the lead with Prem Pilch in second place. So we'll have to wait and see if Sepp Plebs will be able to just come back from, well, almost a disaster thing for him. But here goes Petrojan in P3 for Ferrari. Probably his best spot best position so far in the race. But still, he has to go to the pit lane this lap as well. And there goes now Anderson and Prema Pilch into the pits. Petrojan also coming to the pits as well. And here goes now Simon Witt in third place, and he does overtake everyone. Same with Henry Jack Brown, but I think those two have still yet to pit. Right into lap 19 of the race, really quickly. And Plebs is coming out just in front of the Mercedes of Prem Pilch, but he couldn't overtake Tin Anderson. So that means Anderson is technically in the net lead of the race. But Plebs tried to come back from it, and he does have the DRS. And would he try to dive down the inside on turn 4? He doesn't. He stays right behind of that Sauber. So it's all about, well, who could get the cars more right than more wrong. So I guess make less mistake, which means you are still in the front. And there is Nick Koch there in 7th place, but he will become P5 as soon as Henry Jack Brown and Simon Witt both into the pit lane. Pasalic as well in P8, Tuamela in P9, and Mr. Peanut Butter in P10. So still yet to look forward to. And here goes now Petrojan in P11. And also Raymond Tanner now drops a lot of position behind. He was about 6th earlier on in the race, but now he's dropped back to P12, which is just ridiculous there. But yeah, Plebs now into P2. Then also have he's into P2 right now, but yeah, just comes out the pits a bit too late for the lead of the race, as Tin Anderson now leads the way. We only have 4 laps to go in this race, so could he be able to catch up? I don't really know. He doesn't have DRS this time around, and that extends the advantage for Tin Anderson, so he's gonna win this race pretty easily, from my standpoint, at this lap, because, well, Plebs doesn't even have the tires that is going to go for the lead. Well, he has to conserve the tires just to last the entire race, and it's ultra soft tires. Well, yeah, the race directors and the IWTR sanctioning body, they will try to get the regulations right, but for now they're gonna have to stick with this tire regulations for now. So we're probably still gonna see this 4-lap tire stopped or tire stint in this race. But now for the ultra soft tires only. But for the soft tires, still pretty reasonable amount of laps that he put on, like about 10 to 12 laps that he produced. But here he goes now, Prem and Pilch, really close on the back of Sepp Plebs. That is frightening for him, and he does go for a move into the inside, and he takes P2 for Prem and Pilch. He's back up to second place, and that's going to be a big celebrations there for Mercedes, but the race is not over yet, so they can't really celebrate it too early here. As here goes now, Plebs does have the DRS, but Farina, you see on the back here, they're all catching up now. And Plebs looks on the inside, and I feel like, yeah, he's trying to go as much of the inside as much as possible to get a good exit coming off of that corner, but it feels like he didn't. Well, I mean, just coming off that corner, maybe it's not really enough because he doesn't really have any tyres to work with anymore. The amount of tyre wear that he was experiencing, I think, because you can obviously see that the ultra soft tyres just burn so quickly, and they have pretty short lifespan on their tyres. There he goes now, and let's just have a little look on the back of the pack as we see now Vit. Oh, a little bit of slide there coming into a Turkish turn a copy, but is in fact it is I think turn 10 or 11, I think, or 11 or 12, I think. But here he goes now. He's literally on the back of that Renault. So here goes now Vit. He looks to go for a move on that Renault. He does go on the inside of the final corner, and he does make the move stick into P9. So his one position is better than anything, better than just 1 point. So he's now having 2 points now. And but Farina is not really catching up to the front anymore, and might be got overtaken by Nick Koch as well, which she is now just howling in on that Ferrari with that much of a pace that she had. But there he goes now. We only have 2 laps to go, and a little bit of smoke there. I think that's probably the grass or the dirt smoke that somebody picked up. As we see now, here it goes. Mr. Peanut Butter is now down in P11 now, as he was trying to make up for a points position as well, and Raymond Tanner is dropped back to P12 now, P12 for him, and Mr. Peanut Butter drops back the pace significantly, as you see right there. He was really close to Henry Chapman's rear wing there, but he lost a lot of the amount of the pace that he had. But here he goes now. The leader is now already crossing the line for the final lap of the first ever Indian Grand Prix for the World Football Series. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on the front, but I feel like there's probably nothing to look forward. But here's a look at Alex Luwan's onboard camera. He is right now in 18th right now. And here comes now Nick Koch. She has a DRS, and I think she's gonna take P4 away from Luca Farina, the man who started on pole is now down to P5, and she does make the move stick. She's into P4. What a drive from her, from P10 on the grid to P4 right now, with that much of a pace deficit that she have. She could potentially try to go for a podium here, but there is only just 1 lap to go in this race, so there is probably not enough time for her to even catch up to the top 3. But here it comes now. Drobozarjevic now looks on the inside of Mr. Peanut Butter, actually Dylan Hope, sorry, and he goes already into turn 4, and he goes into P16. But we have to switch our cameras back to Tim Anderson, the man who was, well, moving teams from McLaren to Sauber, the winning constructors team, and he's gonna get the first win for his team. Tim Anderson wins the Indian Grand Prix, the first ever time for World Football Series, he does win. First time for the team, first time in this season for him. Tim Anderson, well deserved there. Raymond Pilch, first podium for the team as well. For Mercedes, their first podium. It's been a while since Mercedes last scored a podium in this universe. And, well, wow. Raymond Pilch, P2 for the team. Seb Clipson, third. Nick Koch score her first points in World Formula Series. And Luca Farina as well, first points in this season. For him as well, for the Ferrari team. And Pasalic will finish in 6th place. Noah Tormella in P7 there. And then Zorba Jojan in P8 as well. First points for him and his team as well. Simon Witt will finish in P9. And then Browns, rounding out the point scoring positions, he will finish in P10. Mr. Peanut Butter will finish in P11. Just not close enough for the points for him. He's looking so close there to be scored the first American driver to ever score a point for World Formula Series. Then Raymond Tanner, who was lining up on the front row today, ended up finishing in P12 today. And then you see also with Jafari Blackwood in 13th place, Zedingaya in 14th, and then we also have Sivan in P15. So Zlatko Drobosarjevic in P16, then Dylan Hope, who had a crash earlier on in the race, will finish in P17. Alex Lewan finished in P18, and Bivona will finish in P19 for the McLaren. And also with Falcon, not a really great race for him, for the Jaguar driver. He will finish in in 20th place, and Poncho Shoshana as well had a spin in lap 2 of the race. Actually, yeah, it is lap 2 or 3 of the race, and it will finish in P20 in 21st place instead. Back is there as well. He was pretty much up and down throughout the back markers, at the top of the back markers and the back of midfielders, but he wasn't really be able to produce any performance. But he still does put up some good decent fights there for backers. But Conteguris will finish in P23, Wilson in P24, Cesar Cohen Jr. in P25, and Mitch Johnston in P26. The reigning world champion is definitely not happy, but I mean, who could honestly be blamed him? But he did make the mistake himself, so he has himself to blame on that incident. And so it does, yeah, it is. Well, that's it for the Indian Grand Prix here at Buddh International Circuit. It's honestly a pretty good opening race, the first time of an Indian Grand Prix. Their first start for the Buddh International Circuit, and well, it kind of delivers quite a lot of actions, I'll honestly say. But yeah, so that's about it for the Indian Grand Prix here in the Buddh International Circuit. And the next round, we are headed towards Malaysia. Yep, it is the Malaysian Grand Prix at the Sepang International Circuit. It sounds kind of weird, isn't it? I said in the Kailami race that Malaysia is going to be the next round, which is this round, the second round of the championship. But it actually wasn't. Malaysia was supposed to be the third round of the championship, and the second round was supposed to be Bahrain, but it got cancelled due to the track and car combination problems. So now we got replaced by the Indian Grand Prix. So that means Malaysia. So just a little bit sorry for the inconvenience, but Malaysia is the third round of the IWTR World Formula Series Season 4. Well, yeah, some mistakes, some corrections there, so just make everything clear, okay? So yeah, the next round, we are heading towards Malaysia. So yeah, that's about it for this broadcast. So, if you like this kind of content and want to see more of these, make sure to subscribe to the International World Tour Racing channel. You can give a like, a share, or subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any races or new contents that will be coming to you in the near future. And if you'd like to join this league, I'll put the Discord link in the description below. And that's it from me today. I've been Pauser, your host and your commentator, signing off for today. Goodbye everyone.